Today, I will be talking about the common use of railways and the significance of railways in respect to the Green New Deal. Have you ever tried to order something online and have it shipped only to get an error message at checkout that the company doesn't ship to that address, state, or region? Or have you ever wondered why it takes so much longer for your Amazon packages to arrive if you don't want to pay an arm and a leg for 2-day shipping? Well, you might be getting that error message because of the lack of railways in the region. And if you're lucky enough to be able to get your product, well, it probably is going to have to be shipped by rail at some point on its way to you. Unfortunately, freight trains are significantly slower than highway travel. However, they do allow for both cheap rates for both producers and consumers. Many people don't realize that trains are a primary transportation method for shipments. Globally, many people actually use trains to avoid traffic on the roads, and so do companies. It can be much more cost and load efficient for companies to sign contracts with railroad companies and be able to get a lot of product hauled all at once. In the US alone, approximately 40% of all commodities and consumer goods are shipped by rail. Supplementing road shipments with rail networks allow companies to improve both the speed and the reliability for customer service. Trains are and have been used for both personal and commercial transportation. The way trains are used in a region does depend on demand. In the US, trains are primarily used for freight service, whereas in other countries such as India, China, or even cities like New York, railways have been advanced further and are commonly found to be electric powered, as well as being faster and more time efficient for personal transit. In the US, railways continually support economic growth by providing both a cost-efficient and eco-friendly way to transport supplies. US populations are continuously increasing, and the demographic trends suggest that urbanization and increases in higher populated metropolitan areas, as well as networks such as road systems, will be seen as well. Due to this, we will also see an increase in emissions. The weight limit and capacity of rail cars innovate urbanization in areas, and is also considered one transportation solution to keep global emissions lowered while supporting increases in demand for heavy freight such as coal, lumber, and other daily commodities. So, using locomotive technology, the amount as well as the weight and size of shipments can increase while helping cut emissions and all overhead costs for both the customer and the producers. Today, locomotives only produce 25% of carbon emissions that petroleum and diesel vehicles emit. That means that using trains helps to reduce up to 75% of emissions produced by trucking consumer goods and other vehicle traffic. This makes railways 3 to 4 times more efficient than transportation by road vehicles. If companies used railways to haul supplies and inventory, then the amount of traffic goes up the amount of traffic goes down, and it cuts down on carbon emissions. Globally, railroads have become the most efficient way to transport daily commodities across the country. This is a large incentive for companies and other entities like governments in other regions and countries to push to use railways and other eco-efficient friendly forms of transportation, such as today's Teslas and hybrid vehicles. However, it is common that railroads in the United States are able to set their own rates to reflect the economic market conditions. This allows rail companies to abolish and put in service tracks as needed to lower track maintenance or increase investments in areas. One rail project currently being pursued for its global economic benefit is the A2A Railway. This railway supports the connection of Alaska to Alberta. One reason this railway is currently a big deal is its ability to lower truck traffic and the overall labor costs, increasing availability of routes, connecting ports, increasing jobs, and promoting economic growth for both the U.S. and Canada. This means if you live in those regions or in an area where there's a railway expansion, the ability to get something shipped might become an option with that new railway in place. Further, alternate forms of travel will have the ability to become available. The Green New Deal is part of a global contract to lower all carbon emissions to a net zero output capacity of current levels of CO2. Innovating the use and advances in railways allow companies and the public to have alternative transportational methods and is being recognized as a possible solution for one of the largest global crises today. Today, the recognition that railways have the ability to significantly decrease road congestion, as well as fuel consumption and greenhouse gas emissions, is a primary key to social economical growth and being able to being promoted because of its advantageous features. Some of the issues causing delays in this solution of greenhouse gas emissions and promoting passenger services in the U.S. are the upper front-end costs of switching from diesel to electric power. Railways across the U.S. are still operating diesel systems due to being privately owned. Railways in other countries are often owned by the government and therefore have the necessary funding to switch to electric-powered systems. This allows some rail companies to further increase their effectiveness to reduce the use of fossil fuels responsible for high levels of carbon emissions and be part of the collaborative effort to achieve the proposed Green New Deal. Currently, even being powered by diesel railways in the U.S., the railways are only responsible for 0.5% of greenhouse gas emissions and approximately 1.9% of total global greenhouse gas emissions. However, no matter how efficient trains can be, other studies show that people would still rather travel by car due to how they value their time.